It was a quiet evening in the city, the kind of evening where life seemed to slow down just enough for hidden stories to unfold in plain sight. Inside a brightly lit grocery store, the shelves gleamed with abundance, yet in one small corner stood a young woman whose world was far from abundant. Her eyes lingered on a can of baby formula, her hands trembling as she picked it up, held it close, and then stared at the price tag. The light in her eyes dimmed. With a defeated sigh, she placed the milk back on the shelf, glanced around as though ashamed of her own poverty, and slowly walked away. To most, it was just another ordinary moment, easily overlooked. But not to him. Standing only a few aisles away was a man in his early 40s, dressed sharply, his demeanor calm yet alert. A man who had wealth, comfort, and power, the things she lacked. A man who noticed. And in that single moment, as he watched the struggling mother walk away empty-handed, something in his chest tightened. Before we go deeper into this powerful journey, take a moment, my friends, if you believe in kindness, in compassion, and in giving second chances when life seems unbearably heavy, please like this video, comment with your thoughts, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Together, we can spread stories that remind us of the goodness still alive in this world. The millionaire, his name Jonathan Hale, was not the kind of man people expected to feel much when it came to the struggles of strangers. He owned companies, drove cars that turned heads, lived in a penthouse with glass walls overlooking the skyline. People often saw only his success, his wealth, his apparent detachment from ordinary problems. But beneath that exterior lay a man who had once tasted hunger himself, a man who knew the sharp sting of going without. And when he saw that mother put back the formula, it stirred a memory deep inside him, a memory of his own mother silently skipping meals so that he, as a boy, could eat. He knew that look in the woman's eyes, the look of desperation laced with love. Jonathan followed her discreetly through the store. He noticed how she avoided the middle aisles filled with expensive items, how she carefully calculated each purchase, counting and recounting the crumpled bills in her hand before picking up cheaper alternatives. She bought only essentials, bread, rice, a small carton of milk, and a few vegetables. Her basket was light, almost heartbreakingly so, but her shoulders carried a burden far heavier than any basket could hold. When she reached the checkout, Jonathan stood a distance away, observing. Her total came to just under what she could afford, yet she still hesitated, as if hoping she might have miscounted. She removed one or two items to make it work, forcing a polite smile at the cashier as though it didn't matter. But Jonathan could see it mattered deeply. It mattered because every item she had to put back was not just food. It was hope, nourishment, survival. Outside, the night air had grown cooler. She pushed her small cart with one hand and carried her little baby in the other arm. The child was perhaps less than a year old, bundled in a worn but clean blanket, resting against her chest. The mother's eyes scanned the parking lot warily, not for danger, but for something else, the loneliness of knowing no help was coming. Jonathan followed her at a careful distance, his thoughts racing. Should he approach her now? Would she be offended? Would she even accept help? Wealth, he knew, was sometimes easier to give than dignity, and he feared taking hers away. But then it happened, the moment that broke him. She reached a small, battered car parked under a flickering lamp. She placed her groceries inside, then sat in the driver's seat, holding her baby. Through the windshield, Jonathan saw her press her forehead against the steering wheel, shoulders trembling. She thought no one was watching, but Jonathan saw everything, the silent tears, the whispered apologies to her child, the exhaustion that seemed too much for one person to bear. He couldn't walk away. Not this time. Approaching her car, he gently knocked on the window. She startled, wiping her face quickly, forcing a smile she could not truly feel. Jonathan's voice was calm, steady, and kind as he introduced himself not as the millionaire businessman, but simply as a fellow human being who had once known struggle. He explained that he had seen her in the store and wanted to help, not out of pity, but because someone once helped his mother when she thought no one cared. He handed her an envelope. Inside was more than money. It was a gesture, a lifeline, a chance to breathe again. At first, she refused, shaking her head, her pride and fear colliding in her heart. But Jonathan's sincerity broke through. He told her that accepting help was not weakness, but love for her child, who deserved every chance at nourishment and safety. Finally, with trembling hands, she accepted, tears streaming freely down her face. That night, she drove away not just with groceries, but with hope. And Jonathan stood in the cold, watching her car disappear into the distance, feeling something stir inside him that no luxury car, no penthouse, no business deal had ever given him. It was the quiet, overwhelming peace of knowing he had changed someone's world, if only for a moment. In the days that followed, Jonathan couldn't stop thinking about her. He used his resources not to invade her privacy, but to ensure she had the support she needed, anonymously helping to cover her rent, arranging opportunities for work through people who wouldn't trace it back to him. He didn't do it for recognition. He did it because he understood that the smallest acts of kindness can ripple into waves of change. The woman, Emily, never forgot that night either. To her, it wasn't just a man helping. It was proof that even in a world that often feels cruel and indifferent, miracles still existed in human form. She told her child, as he grew older, that there had been angels on earth. One of them had knocked on her car window on a night when she almost lost hope. And Jonathan? He carried that moment in his heart forever, letting it guide his choices, reminding him that true wealth is not counted in dollars, but in the difference we make in someone else's life. So, if this story touched your heart today, if it reminded you that compassion can heal wounds that money alone cannot, then please, like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to this channel. Every small act of engagement helps us spread more stories like this, stories of hope, love, and second chances. Because sometimes, the greatest riches we can ever hold are the moments when we choose to lift someone else out of the shadows. And that night, in a quiet grocery store parking lot, a millionaire found his truest treasure in the tears and gratitude of a struggling mother who finally knew she was not alone.